All right, we are streaming. We are recording, and it is 7:30, so we will call this February 22nd, 2021 council meeting to order on time at 7:30, and we'll start tonight with prayer and pledge. We'll start tonight with the Our Father. Our Father, art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Let's see. Cosgray.
Present.
Foreman.
Present.
Hamilton. I see
He's present. He's on mute again.
Hankinson.
Present.
Keller.
Present.
McCreary.
Present.
All right. All present. We'll have a meeting. First item is the approval of the February 8th, 2021 meeting minutes.
Foreman read them. Everything looks in order. I make a motion we approve them as written.
All right.
Keller seconds.
Motion and second on approving the minutes as written. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Cosgray.
Yes.
Foreman.
Yes.
Hamilton. I assume that's a yes.
It looked like he said yes.
Did he nod his head? Okay. Hankinson.
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
McCreary.
Yes.
All right. Minutes will be approved as written. Next is the agenda. There is one amendment to the agenda. We need a sponsor for ordinance 2021-03, and I will ask McCreary to sponsor that since it came out of planning and zoning. And then I'll fill you in on it. This ordinance is adding ducks to our urban chicken
Yes, Mayor.
legislation.
Yes, Mayor. I'll do that. I'll sponsor that ordinance.
Thank you. All right. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Keller makes a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Cosgray second.
Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call?
Cosgray.
Yes.
Foreman.
Yes.
Hamilton's not there. Hankinson.
Yes.
Keller.
Yes.
McCreary.
Yes.
All right. Well, 5 gets us an amended agenda, so we'll call it good and move on. Visitors, I did not get any emails, so we will move on to village administration reports. I'm going to keep mine short tonight so that we can have some discussion on other things if needed. Chief mentioned for everyone in safety that we got 2 new officers, so swore in one late last week, so happy. Of course, everyone at service saw the sewer stuff that Terry and Tim and Brad have been working on. I met with them last week on it as well, and they've done a good job putting that together and using the technology to be able to show it to everyone. One thing that I'm keeping an eye on, there's been talk of additional CARES money to coming to municipalities. I've been hearing about it. Mayor Henderson over in Pleasantville was able to get a spreadsheet breakdown of if it were to pass tomorrow, potential different revenue streams we would get. And if it were to pass tomorrow, Baltimore would get quite a sizable chunk of funds to use for different CARES things. And don't hold your breath on it because it'll change because it's the federal government doing things. But the spreadsheet the other day had us getting $500,000. So, if it ends up at that, that's great. I'm not expecting that, but it does look like some additional funding will be coming. So hopefully by the next meeting or meeting after that, we'll have more information on that. So with that, if no one has any questions on that, I'll toss it over to Terry because I know she has a few things.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to, Mayor is in the process of putting out a public notification that our Park Avenue project was approved by the OPWC District 17 Integrated Committee. That will be set up to OPWC for their final approval. So I am 99.9999% sure that we are going to get that funding. That funding is for new roads and sidewalks and et cetera from Cliff Street on Park all the way to Dorchester. So that means anybody, it's increased the walkability of anybody to get to the museum, the library, the park, the ballparks, all on a ADA accessible sidewalk. So this is a great project for the village. The total amount of that project, if you remember, the total amount of it is $436,926. We're getting the assistance of $249,342 from OPWC. The rest is our matching. We are not taking out any loans to do this project. Fairfield County was granted $2.4 million in OPWC funds. District 17 is divided up into 6 counties: Delaware, Fairfield, Knox, Licking, Morrow, and Pickaway. And so we were allotted $2.4 million in Fairfield County. What that got us was 8 projects sent off to be funded, 2 projects as alternatives, and 5 projects received no funding. Our second project that we had submitted was for the Waterloo Project. If you remember, we had submitted this for a grant request for CDBG this year also, last year, and that was denied. We are, each district is allowed to set up 5 projects and 2 alternatives. Alternates to what they call the small government. And again, the mayor has a press release that he'll be putting out that explains this a little more. Our project is number 6, which means we are on the bubble. It is a possibility we may be able to receive some funding for this Waterloo project, but it probably will be in the form of a low interest loan and not a grant. So that would be the issue. So I think Fairfield County did really well with all of their allocation. They had $38,000 left over, which then it gets turned back into the state, which then goes into that small government pot to be redistributed. While we were in competition in District 17 and specifically in Fairfield County with our projects, the small governments are in competition for the whole state. So we'll be hearing more about that. And so, again, nice project that we have going on here. It'll be a great improvement on Park Street and for the residents. Again, I want to just talk just a moment to the website. As you know, it's been a challenge, the changeover to the website. Barb has worked very, very hard to make sure that we're getting our documents, which all the links were broken, back up there. As you can see, the ordinance are there, the minutes are there now, the meeting notifications are there. She's also, as a part of her project, is to take all of the original zoning applications and turn them into writable PDFs. So what does that mean? That means if you go out now, and she started having those uploaded to the website also, all of our zoning applications, eventually someone can fill out online and then attach them to an email instead of having to print them and write them out. So this has been a very big undertaking, and I appreciate all the hard work she's did. If you, I'm still finding links that are still broken because there are so many of them on that web page. So if you happen to be on the web page and you find a broken link, please don't hesitate to send Barb and myself an email, because I'm sure she already knows it, but it just in case, because again, it's like an Easter egg hunt because there are so many links there. But it looks really, really good. If you get the chance, go in, pull up one of the zoning applications, and you'll see what a great job she did with those applications. So it's been a plus. So thank you, Barb. I want to talk a little bit about, in your packet was a document called 2021 Proposed Projects Revised. If you remember when we talked last, there were a couple of funds that we were over in the budget to be able to equal our appropriations to our revenues coming in. So you'll see at the top of that page that I'm referencing on 2021 proposed projects, the wastewater treatment plant was able to reduce out. The water plant was able to reduce down. Both of those were some small projects, some that we did take care of in 2020 budget. Most importantly, I want you to look at the streets project. We had a really hard time with that one, and if you notice on the second page of your report, we had to take one of the street projects off that was $35,000, which was Buchanan from Railroad to the South Dead End. We had to remove that, and Tim is still $9,000, short on his appropriations for the 2021. So we have a little bit of an issue there. I would have liked to see us do the Buchanan from the Railroad to the South End, but again, we had to cut somewhere, but I just wanted to point that out. Also in your packet, you will find I&I 5-year plan initiative. I believe I spelled initiative wrong. I apologize for that. I just now noticed it. But to Mr. Foreman's request at the last meeting, he wanted to see exactly how we were going to do this in 5 years out. We had a meeting with V3 and again with Tim and Brad, and sat down, and these are the 5 items that we're going to shoot for that are listed on this 5-year plan. As we go forward, we'll fill in the blanks with more detail as we go along, but I wanted to respond to the request for the 5-year plan for I&I. I believe I want to stop there because I would like to request that someone make a motion to go into an executive session to talk about security when the time comes for motions. And I will add this, we did have a water leak on Friday. That is our second one for the month. As you know, the thawing and freezing temperatures are not friends to our infrastructure. This one was on Elmwood, and it was quite the leak. Took a 12-inch clamp to repair. So that's our second one for the month. The other one was up on Washington. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we start thawing out, things start stabilizing underneath, and we don't have any more water leaks. So that's all I have in case somebody has something for me, Mayor.
All right. Does anybody have questions for Terry? All right. Brian, you got anything?
No, I don't have anything tonight.
Jeff, what you got for us?
One new piece of legislation. It's to amend Chapter 1272.20, which is part of the zoning code. It addresses urban chickens, and the purpose of this is to tweak the current provisions, but also to include ducks along with chickens. So we're going to have urban chickens and urban duck permissible. And no second readings. And then the final appropriation ordinance, permanent appropriation ordinance is on for a third reading this evening. And that's all I have.
Okay. And I'll have to schedule a public hearing at one of the readings since it's a zoning code change, correct?
Correct. And if it's going to go through 3 readings, you can do it on the third reading and just schedule it for example, 7:15 p.m. Or somewhere in that neighborhood, basically. So.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to committee reports. Finance.
Okay, Mayor, Finance, our next meeting will be the second Monday in March the 8th at 6 o'clock.
All right. Service.
We had a meeting tonight. Tim went over the video on the failed sewer pipe and showed that to everybody. And we got a game plan on fixing that. We really didn't get too much else accomplished. The next meeting is going to be on the 22nd of March, 6.
All right. Safety.
Okay, we had a meeting this evening. Everybody was present. So our next meeting is March 22nd, right after service.
All right. And rules. Rules
We haven't had a
met.
meeting.
There.
We haven't had a meeting as such this year yet, so we'll meet when we're needed, I guess.
Carrie, will they have something for March?
I believe we will.
Okay.
So that would be a March 8th.
Yep. All right, cool.
Okay. We'll meet March 8th then.
I'll get with you, Mr. Hamilton.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Chief, Police Department.
Thanks, Mayor. Again, you talked about the new officers coming on. We're looking at that. We're doing a departmental inventory right now on equipment, things that we have, making sure that we're well stocked. We got an agreement with Pickerington Police to be able to use their indoor range during inclement weather. So that's been a huge help to us. As the other range that we use is the Pickaway County Gun Club. And if they get much snow or bad weather, you can't get in or out over there. Several cases at the prosecutor's office currently, several that we're still deeply involved in, which have been very time consuming. And one of our officers who's been out due to COVID issues should be back to us the 26th, which is going to be a huge help. I think that's all I have for tonight.
All right. Anybody have any questions for the chief? All right. Fire board.
At our last meeting, we reviewed finances and nothing out of the ordinary. And they're still working on the new sewer drain in the building so they can wash your vehicles on the inside, the underneath of them. So that's it.
Very cool. Moving on, planning and zoning. Planning and zoning met last Thursday. I'm getting my days confused. And discussed more on short-term rentals and expectations. And so taking a very measured approach, if everyone recall, we almost had hearings where we pulled all the information. So now we've had a couple of meetings where everything's been discussed. And so we brainstormed. I've got several pages of ideas that we came up with. And so now it's to the point where we're going to put those down on paper to start walking through to see how some regulations would work based on the feedback from everybody on the committee. So that'll be at the next meeting. The new legislation tonight came out of the last planning and zoning meeting as well. to add ducks to our urban chicken policy. And then at the meeting as well, if everyone will call it the last council meeting, we had a discussion about the information we got about a Walnut Township rezoning from that industrial parcel. We brought it up at Planning and Zoning as well, and Planning and Zoning voted to add their objection to our village objection as well, noting specifically the water drainage issues at Ackers Ditch, which Planning and Zoning has been working on for years, and the concerns that putting in a storage facility there would increase the drainage issues and cause additional problems for property owners around there. So there, the Planning and Zoning objection issue was added to the council statement that Terry sent to the commissioners about that Walnut Township rezoning. So all in all, it was a pretty busy meeting, but we got a lot done in about an hour and 15 minutes. So, and our next meeting is the second Thursday in March. So anybody have any questions on the Planning and Zoning?
Yeah, neither of the short-term rental residents were contacted about that meeting or given information about that meeting at all.
I believe Terry contacted them and reached out.
Not for the second meeting, Mayor. We just told them about the first one. But Mr. Foreman, this goes to, we haven't even started our hearings yet, or anything. So there's still plenty of opportunity.
No, I mean, I'm just saying we had a meeting about, in particular, 2 people in town, and they weren't even made aware of the meeting.
Well, I will say this then, that it's somewhat of a personal responsibility. The meetings are regularly scheduled on the second Thursdays. It's not like they, we change the day. So
I tried to find a link. I even texted people about the meeting. Brandy, didn't I text you that night to say, are we having a meeting tonight? And you weren't there.
Yes, no, I wasn't able to attend the meeting. Correct.
Right. And I also tried to text Terry. I guess apparently she didn't get my text, but I texted Terry that night to say, are we having a meeting tonight? And so I was looking for links. I was actively looking for links.
Well, it's up, it streams just the same place on the YouTube channel that the council meetings do.
So we can only come in on the YouTube channel. We can't come into the meeting?
Well, that's the way we've been handling it because of COVID and because of the way we run the council stuff. Now, when we have the public hearings, those will be set up to have everybody be able to participate and register, so we know who's speaking.
Okay. Well, I mean, I pay attention to what's going on. I was actively looking for that meeting that night. I didn't know that I was banished to YouTube, or I would have gone there. So I would have done that. I did not know that.
Since the beginning of COVID, all the meetings have been streamed on YouTube.
I guess I thought as a council member, I would have been able to link the meeting directly. Apparently not. I'll be aware of that in the future.
Well, it was the same meeting link you had the first time you came in.
No, I didn't get it. I did not get that link.
Okay. You've been on one of the meetings before, Rick.
I guess I expected an email with a new meeting link, not the old meeting link like I get for council.
Okay, it's the same meeting link. Even the council ones are the same.
Okay,
It's a recurring meeting.
It didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. I'll be smarter in the future.
All right. All right. Any other questions on planning and zoning? All right. Tree Commission.
We received notification that we have been awarded the Tree City USA award again. This is our 8th year. That's a very small, what I call mighty team. And We canceled our meeting this month, but our next meeting will be next month, the second Thursday of March.
All right. Any questions for Terry on tree commission? All right. Records commission, I haven't got that meeting set yet. I got to get with Jeff to clear dates on his calendar as well. And I thought I was going to have some, but they keep changing things with court and COVID. So hopefully this delay this time's on me. So, but we'll get one of those meetings set here shortly. Moving on, motions, resolutions, any motions?
Mayor, I'd like to move that we go into executive session after the ordinance and resolution for the purpose of security. And Terry, who do you want in for that meeting? Everybody that's on.
Everyone is, yes, please.
Everybody that's on as of now.
All right, so motion to go into exec after regular business, Chuck, not
Yes.
with everyone on? Okay. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, discussion on executive. I don't know that we had a discussion on it, so roll call.
Yeah, what was the, it faded out on the purpose. What was the purpose again?
Security.
Security.
Security, okay. Okay, Cosgray,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hankinson,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
Prairie.
Yes.
All right, so we will have a short executive after regular business. Moving on to first readings, ordinance 2020-03, an ordinance to amend chapter 1272.20 Planning and Zoning Code, General Development Standards, Urban Chickens of the Baltimore Codified Ordinances. Sponsor is McCreary.
Yes, Mayor. So this ordinance that I am sponsoring is in regards to, we are going to be adding to that specific ordinance ducks. So let me get this correct. It is in regards to the urban chicken policy that we would like to add ducks to that specific ordinance.
And could I just say something, Brandy?
Yes, ma'am.
Could I add to that, please? If you also, this ordinance further clarifies that the cleanliness of the pen, being the disposal of manure, the smells, and et cetera. So these are some of the problems that we've ran into because the original ordinance didn't have anything about that, as well as a zoning permit for the size of coop. So.
Okay, so you'd like to have that also added?
Yeah, it's in the Exhibit A does a good job. The red language, the red words are the additions.
Okay. All right.
So
Mayor, how do I proceed with this?
Well, this one you get to say goes for 3 readings because we have to also have a public hearing on it. So
okay,
we'll leave it on for a second reading at the next meeting.
All right, so there we have it. So we need to have 3 readings on this, and we will do more with this later meetings.
There we go. Good job.
Thanks.
This is your first one sponsoring, right?
Okay, yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Second readings, none. Third reading, ordinance 2020-01. This is the permanent annual appropriation ordinance of the Village of Baltimore for 2021 and the declaration of emergency. Sponsor is Keller.
Hey, Mayor, this is appropriation for 2021, like you said, or the budget. We kicked this around quite a bit. And I know we have to act on it one way or another. So at this time, I move that we adopt ordinance 2021-01.
Let me ask you a question. Okay, Hankinson's got a second. Let me ask Jeff for clarification because Brian sent out an amendment where a couple of those numbers changed. Jeff, do we have to do a motion to amend to accept the updated spreadsheet that Brian sent out with those changes that Terry discussed?
I would recommend that, yes.
Okay.
And not only that, we still have to discuss the issue with the street fund. We have to slash at least 9,000, close to 9,200 from the street fund budget to keep it in balance.
Oh,
We still have to cut it, or we can't leave it $9,000 even because
No,
we got
because that,
carryover?
we have appropriations exceeding estimated total certified resources. There's a few lines I'm going to have, we need to cut down a little bit to get that within range. The county auditor would send, what they would do if I turn in a budget with that, they would kick back to me that street fund exceeds total certified resources and council will have to act to reduce the appropriations. So that's what we need to do in the street fund now. It could be a couple thousand here, there, and a few lines, and to get that in line with the total certified resources. And we can do it that way, and I can make those modifications after approval.
Brian, do you need that tonight, or can we do it for the first meeting in March?
We're still in temporary mode. We have until the April 1 to pass, or March 31st, I should say, to pass a permanent budget. So, I mean, technically, yeah, it could go, into the next meeting in March, yes.
Well, since we're talking about the budget, maybe we should wait to the first meeting in March where we have all the figures and everything. So at this time, I move that we table ordinance 2021-1.
Cosgrave second, the table.
All right, motion and second to table. That's a primary one. So no discussion, so vote.
Cosgray,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Hamilton. Nod your head, Mike. Okay. Hankinson,
Yes.
Keller,
Yes.
McCurry.
Yes.
All right, recognizing Hamilton's head nod as an affirmative, that'll be 6-0 to lay
about that.
2021-01 on the table. So that one's tabled. So that gives Brian and Terry a little more time to get those appropriations in line with the certified revenues. So, all right. That work for you guys, Terry, Brian?
Yeah,
Next meeting shouldn't be a problem.
it should not be a problem.
All right, cool. Moving on then. Is there any old business? All right, hearing none. Is there any new business? All right. I don't see any emails from visitors. So I would note that but for Terry's executive session, we'd have this meeting over at 8:03.
Thank you.
So let me do the reminder here. So I'm going to turn off the live stream and the recording in just a second. As a reminder, in executive session, we're not supposed to take any notes. I'm sure Jeff will give us the admonishment too. No taking any notes or anything like that. I'm going to turn off the recording and the live stream, and I'll only turn the recording and live stream back on if council is going to take any action other than adjourning the meeting. I'll make that on the public side so that everyone knows what's going on in case they don't see anything come back after that. So let me stop the recording.